Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Today we are re-delving into a crucial topic that directly impacts the safety of our neighborhoods and loved ones, Magan's Law. Have you ever wondered what exactly constitutes a Magan's Law offense in Pennsylvania? How does the state categorize these offenders? And what steps are in place to protect us from potential threats in our own communities? If these questions have crossed your mind, then today's episode is essential listening. We will dissect the intricacies of Magan's Law, shedding light on the types of offenses that fall under its purview, the multi-tiered system used to classify offenders, and the resources available for us to stay informed. Our aim is to empower you with knowledge so you can better safeguard yourself and your family. But before we dive into this critical discussion, we kindly ask you to support our work with a thumbs up and subscribe to stay updated on our latest episodes. Your engagement helps us continue delivering quality content that informs and educates our community. Now let us delve into the heart of the matter, Magan's Law and its implications in Pennsylvania. As always, we approach this topic with sensitivity and respect for all involved. Magan's Law originated from a tragic case in New Jersey, which led to nationwide reforms in sex offender legislation. In Pennsylvania, it is embodied in the Pennsylvania Magan's Law, officially known as the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. The essence of this law lies in transparency and public safety. By mandating the registration of certain individuals convicted of sex offenses and providing communities with access to relevant information, Pennsylvania aims to reduce the chances of repeat offenses and ensure public vigilance. The law came into effect in 1996, building on the momentum of similar legislation across the United States. At the core of Magan's Law in Pennsylvania is a comprehensive registration system. Once an individual has been convicted of a qualifying sex offense, they must provide the Pennsylvania State Police with detailed personal and employment-related information. This includes current and previous addresses, identification details, and occupation specifics. Additionally, these individuals are required to submit fingerprints for a criminal background check and a photograph for identification purposes. But why is all this information public? The answer lies in the law's ultimate objective: community safety. By making this data accessible, Pennsylvania empowers its citizens to take proactive measures to protect themselves and their families. Of course, there are understandable concerns about privacy and potential misuse of such information. However, proponents argue that the right to safety supersedes these concerns in cases involving potential sex offenders. To manage this responsibility effectively, the Pennsylvania State Police maintain the Pennsylvania Magan's Law public website, a resource that allows anyone to search for registered offenders in their area. This website serves as a vital tool for individuals looking to enhance their personal safety and that of their families. Imagine moving into a new home or neighborhood without knowing if there are registered sex offenders in the vicinity. This is where Magan's Law shines as a beacon of transparency. By allowing you to search for registered offenders based on location or offender details, the law keeps you informed, enabling you to take appropriate precautions. The importance of this law extends beyond individual households. Schools, daycare centers, faith-based organizations, and other community groups can also utilize the Magan's Law database to ensure the safety of those in their care. For instance, a school could use this information to determine if a potential threat exists within the student body or among parents volunteering for school activities. Similarly, a daycare center can proactively assess the safety of their staff and the surrounding environment. Such institutions have a moral obligation to safeguard those under their care, and Magan's Law provides them with the tools to do so. In Pennsylvania, the severity of an offense determines the tier in which an offender is placed. Tier 1 encompasses less severe offenses such as corruption of minors or indecent exposure. Tier 2 includes more serious offenses like statutory sexual assault. Meanwhile, Tier 3 is reserved for the most heinous offenses, such as rape or sexual homicide. Each tier comes with its own set of requirements regarding residency restrictions, notification protocols, and community protection measures. To ensure compliance with Magan's Law, the Pennsylvania State Police takes several measures. Registered offenders are subject to periodic verification, ensuring that their information remains accurate and up to date. During these verifications, offenders must present updated documentation, such as driver's license or proof of residency. Failure to comply with these verification requirements, or any other aspect of Magan's Law, can result in significant penalties. However, despite these consequences, many registered offenders still choose to violate the law's requirements. In 2021, nearly 1,700 offenders failed to comply with the registration requirements in Pennsylvania, according to data from the Pennsylvania State Police. While this represents a small fraction of the total number of registered offenders in the state, it still highlights the need for robust monitoring and enforcement mechanisms. Now, you might be wondering why the state categorizes these offenders into different tiers. The answer lies in the principle of risk stratification. Offenders are categorized based on the severity of their crimes and their likelihood to reoffend. This categorization guides the level of community notification and safety measures deemed necessary for each individual. Tier 1 offenders who pose the lowest risk are generally subject to less stringent notification protocols compared to Tier 3 offenders who pose the most risk. Tier 1 offenders are required to register for 15 years following their release from prison or supervision. They must verify their information annually with the Pennsylvania State Police. Examples of offenses that might result in Tier 1 classification include corruption of minors, indecent exposure, and unlawful contact with a minor. Tier 2 offenders, on the other hand, face a 25-year registration requirement and must verify their information with the state police every 180 days. This tier includes more serious offenses such as statutory sexual assault, indecent assault, and institutional sexual assault. Tier 3, the most severe category, mandates lifetime registration and quarterly verification with the Pennsylvania State Police. Offenses in this tier encompass rape, sexual homicide, and aggravated indecent assault, among others. Additionally, Tier 3 offenders are often subject to residency restrictions aimed at keeping them away from places frequented by children, such as parks or schools. To access the Pennsylvania Magan's Law Registry and search for registered offenders, you can visit the official website provided below. On the website, you can conduct a basic search by entering an address or a zip code, or choose an advanced search to refine your search using additional criteria. Remember that while this information is public, it should be used responsibly. There are situations where registered offenders may not pose a current threat to public safety. It's crucial to avoid making assumptions and to respect the rights of these individuals while still prioritizing the safety of our communities. With over 12,000 registered offenders in Pennsylvania as of 2021, according to the Pennsylvania State Police, the state's commitment to public safety through the Magan's Law system remains steadfast. However, critics argue that the effectiveness of the law is hindered by insufficient resources allocated to its implementation. They claim that the Pennsylvania State Police faces challenges in monitoring and tracking these offenders due to budget constraints and staffing shortages. Moreover, concerns have been raised about the accuracy and comprehensiveness of the data available on the Magan's Law website. Critics contend that the absence of complete information hinders the ability of individuals and communities to fully assess the risks within their neighborhoods. Despite these criticisms, the Pennsylvania State Police continues to work diligently to uphold the principles of Magan's Law. The agency regularly conducts initiatives to locate and apprehend offenders who fail to comply with registration requirements. For example, in 2022, the Pennsylvania State Police launched a statewide operation targeting absconders wanted for failing to comply with Magan's Law. If you wish to learn more about Magan's Law in Pennsylvania, or to search the registry, you can visit the official website. Additionally, if you have immediate concerns about the safety of your community or believe that a crime has been committed, you should contact your local law enforcement agency. As we conclude today's episode, remember that knowledge is the first step towards a safer tomorrow. By understanding the intricacies of Magan's Law and utilizing the resources at our disposal, we can collectively build safer neighborhoods.